Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the On the Pony Express podcast presented by our friends at Northwest Insurance Agency. Day 2, ACC Media Days. Embody and Dean Ralsky. Got a packed show for you guys today as we unveil our exclusive interviews with SMU linebacker Alexander Kilgore and SMU safety Isaiah Wakovia. Bunch of other ACC teams hit the podiums today in Charlotte. We're going to break it all down, what it means for the SMU side of things, bring you all that and more on the On the Pony Express podcast that starts right now.
In today's economy, you need 2 jobs just to afford breakfast. Filling up your tank? Might as well finance it. But there's some good news. Northwest Insurance Agency can actually save you some money. Auto, home, business, and more custom coverage without the custom price tag. Northwest Insurance. Protect more. Spend less.
This is the On the Pony Express podcast, part of the On3 network. Check out all the SMU coverage you need at ontheponyexpress.com. Now, here's your host, Billy Embody.
1, 2, 3, let me go.
Wednesday at ACC Media Days are coming to a close, and hoping you guys catch this on your drive home or right in the morning as you're going to work. Billy Embody, Dean Ralsky. We appreciate Mark Villasana, Northwest Insurance Agency, for sponsoring us. Make sure you go to nwagencies.com today to learn more about what Mark Villasana and Northwest Insurance Agency can do for you. He's a proud SMU alum, and of course, that means that you guys can talk a little bit about SMU football as fall camp is officially 1 week away. Report date for the Mustangs just right around the corner. And we're going to have plenty of content at ontheponyexpress.com, so subscribe for $1. Dean, we could yell about SMU football all day on this podcast and how people need to subscribe, read, listen, follow, all of those things. You were woken bright and early by Mike Norvell, Florida State head coach, getting some time at the podium to lead things off. It was 10 a.m. here, but he was passionate, he was loud, and he got plenty across in his time with the media today.
Yeah, like you said, he started off the day with some energy, and I think that was just his way of saying, look, we're not going to put up with what happened last season. He seemed almost frustrated talking about it, not at the reporters, just at what happened. And so he talked about a few things. One, they let go of some guys. You know, a lot of people entered the portal. He didn't necessarily say that, but he said, we want to have dedication and effort and buy-in from our players, and we didn't have that from people last year. So he's sort of implicating, yes, there were a lot of players that entered the portal from Florida State elsewhere, and it seemed like maybe some of those Florida State wasn't too mad about losing. Now they brought in a bunch of players as well, and that'll be interesting to see. Of course, Thomas Castellanos was here, he's someone who tripled down on his comments about Alabama, saying his team stands on it. So that'll be quite the week 1 matchup when the Crimson Tide roll into the fully renovated Doak Campbell Stadium. But all in all, man, Mike Norvell really set the tone today.
I want to say, as an aside, it's so nice that SMU is not playing a marquee game week 1, as long as everything gets handled on the football field. We don't have to worry about any message boards burning down on our end. But to sit back, and we visited with Taylor Tannenbaum. She's going to be in Clemson, South Carolina, for that game against LSU, a massive opportunity for the league. Same with Florida State. You know, they have talked that talk from Tommy Castellanos, who, you know, is one of the more dynamic players here, regardless of what you think of him as a passer. He fits that Gus Malzahn scheme so well. They thought enough of him to bring him here to Charlotte, even after he's kind of been lighting it up a little bit as far as headlines. But, you know, he is a dynamic quarterback. And when Gus Malzahn comes in and also brings in Herb Hand to rework that offensive line. Now, personally, I'm not too high on Herb Hand and where he's going currently as an offensive line coach. He's been a part of some great offensive lines in the past, but not as much lately, in my opinion at least. They have a revamped view on how they want to play things offensively, and Tony White's 3-3-5. We visited with TJ Pittenger earlier today, and he was kind of sharing some of the things that they want to do with their athletes versus maybe how the 3-3-5 that SMU's faced against Tulsa, TCU, and some of these other programs, that at times it gives you death by 1,000 cuts. Sounds like the Seminoles are going to try to be more aggressive, but they have reworked so much in that organization. Mike Norvell's pushing his chips in. I had a great conversation with him and talking about Scott Simons, something that I'm working on that front ahead of the season. But, he just had so much praise for Scott Simons. And while they don't face off against each other this season, this is a huge year for Mike Norvell to get that thing back on track. And now that they're locked into the ACC, a good Florida State is good for SMU.
Absolutely. And you say back on track. And the question really is, what does back on track look like?
Yeah.
Is it making it to a bowl game? Florida State fans, their standards so high, they'd still probably be disappointed with the 6-6 season, but that would be progress. And to your point about the new schemes on offense and defense, at least in week one, it sounds like Florida State's confident in their ability to go up against Alabama. But from an outsider's perspective, maybe there is a little bit of freedom they can play with, because nobody expects that Florida State team to win against Alabama or maybe even keep it close. And so there's potentially some freedom there to go out and play with less nerves. But later down the season, they're going to have to win some football games.
And this is a league that I think last year picked up enough slack with Florida State lacking in that. As we sit here watching Louisville head coach Jeff Brom sit down for an interview, the Cards are one of the top teams in this league. We saw up close and personal how good they are, how competitive they were against SMU. They go and beat Clemson on the road. They bring in Miller Moss, and expectations are high once again. Isaac Brown, one of the best running backs in the country, probably the best running back in the league. I think it's pretty clear going into the season that he's right there. I mean, I think Desmond Reed's back at Pitt.
Yep.
Could be wrong.
Yes.
So he's another dynamic playmaker that Louisville will have a chance to make the move and get to Charlotte, which would be big. And, of course, Clemson, who goes tomorrow. We're going to visit with one of their players in the afternoon. But Clemson is the clear-cut favorite. Miami has buzz. SMU has buzz. But with some of these teams that this league has, you're seeing, to bring up a depth point about the conference, right. You're seeing it now when you meet these teams. And, we don't even talk about a Brent Key enough. We don't talk about some of these other programs where, like, NC State or Boston College. I mean, these are big names. And, as Florida State looks to ascend back to where they were, they've got a tough road ahead. But, man, the ACC needs them to bounce back in a big way. And then have some of these other teams that have been good break through. Like a Louisville breaking through would be massive. A Miami finally breaking through after all the buzz would be massive. Now it's on SMU to go out there and beat them. And those type of teams, look at what Miami did offensively last year. Look at what Louisville, all the challenges they present offensively. Of course, Clemson. That all comes down to defense. And we'll visit with Isaiah Wakovia and Alexander Kilgore here shortly. So stay tuned on the pod. But this is a league that presents a lot of problems and different schemes that Scott Simons really has to contend with on the offensive court, like with the battles against the offensive coordinators across the league.
Yeah, and a big point being made here at ACC Media Days is the depth at quarterback across the conference. And,
not just bringing two at a time just to say that we're bringing 25 quarterbacks to Media Days. It's real.
Right. And starting with Louisville, Miller Moss comes in from USC, and he talked about up on the podium today why he chose Louisville. And a big part of it is the head coach's track record at Louisville of developing quarterbacks. We saw Tyler Shook was one of the top quarterbacks taken off the board, and I don't think many people would have predicted that heading into last season. But he's also got weapons around him. You mentioned Isaac Brown, who I'll tell you, that is my first team All-ACC preseason running back. I mean, he is someone who gave SMU some of the most trouble on the ground all season last year. And SMU's run defense was, top 5, top 10 last season.
Hanging around there.
And so, but they've also got really good receivers, especially Chris Bell, a veteran guy who's been there a few years, who they think can be potentially also an All-ACC first-team guy. And they've completely reworked their tight end room as well. Got some experience on the offensive line. They do lose a decent amount on defense, but they've got options on the offensive side of the ball.
And I think with Jeff Brom's track record, that gives them a high floor. I think that's going to be one of SMU's most difficult games, probably right there with Clemson in league play. Still think Miami, I'm just intrigued to see how Carson Beck fits with that offense. It's just different compared to Cam Ward and some of the things that they try to do in the air raid system. But it's a league that when you come to ACC Media Days, and if you can sit there and watch the ACC Network all day if you don't have to work, which we'll get to do over the weekend, I guess, because we missed all of it. But it really does kind of, I think, show that there is depth with this league. And, I think I overheard one of the radio hosts talking here, and he made a great point that I thought was important. The ACC doesn't want to be talked about as SEC and Big Ten, and then Big 12 and ACC. It wants to be talked about as, there's the SEC, there's the Big Ten, and then there's the ACC that's just maybe a cut below.
Yep.
And then it's the Big 12.
Right.
And that's kind of where I think some of the decisions that have been made around the ACC network and how they cover the season are really going to maybe elevate things just a little bit. And that will allow maybe some more eyeballs to get to not only the network, but also the teams that they're covering. And, this event, I think, as we go into our final day tomorrow, is just one of the most well-run events. I mean, I got to talk with Coach Brom for a couple minutes about some things, and just off to the side. I mean, you don't get that at the SEC. I don't know. I mean, outside of doing your local media powwow that schools often offer, but you get, and I've never been to Big Ten Media Days, but and then the Big 12 is all in one day, I'm pretty sure. And so it might be 2 days now, I'm not sure, but still, it's very compact. This is kind of a more chill environment where you get to really understand some of these teams and the way they operate and what they've got going on, because they're open to talking about it. They're open to really sharing their story or what they want to get across. I mean, Rhett Lashley has obviously made a ton of headlines over the last 2 days talking about his college football playoff plan, which we'll get into on a later episode with Taylor Tannenbaum. She had some good thoughts on it. But then also, his shot at the SEC and now the ensuing squabble between him and Paul Feinbaum. It's a one-way shot on those. They're not going back and forth that I've seen, but maybe it happens. I don't know. But it's just a different feeling around the league where you don't have settlements or lawsuits. You don't have realignment. The commissioner, Jim Phillips, was talking about extending the deal to 2036 with ESPN. It's all – last year was chaos. This year it's kind of a calm situation.
Well, and compared to some of those other leagues talking about the playoffs and what the formats will look like, I mean, this is a super competitive league. And so the storylines are about this season and the here and now. And so it'll be interesting to watch the ACC championship race as it unfolds, because you can't really count out a lot of teams from it. I mean, You've got to give a lot of these teams a chance, especially as we're still in talking season and before these teams have played. But we've talked about it a lot on a bunch of different podcasts. But for a national perspective, that is why the out of conference is so important, because the ACC's record in conference is going to be 500. No matter who wins whatever game, right? So you can have teams stand out and stuff like that, but how you really take advantage of the national perspective is winning those marquee out of conference matchups.
Speaking of a marquee situation, Thomas Auto Group giving you a marquee type of deal to head up 75 to McKinney at any of their 4 dealerships and check out a new vehicle, check out a pre-owned vehicle at the Thomas Auto Group. SMU alum Brandon Thomas and his family have run the dealerships for years now. They're giving back to you, the On the Pony Express subscribers and listeners, by offering you employee pricing on new and pre-owned vehicles at any of their dealerships. So hop online, check out their stock, and also head up 75 to McKinney and visit with them at the Thomas Auto Group. We also want to say we appreciate our friend David Henry and Status Jet, of course, for hooking it up with the discount for round-trip flights on a private jet. Where else can you get that? Not many places. Statusjet.com is where you go to learn more about the options that you have available for football season, whether it be a big plane, a small plane, whether you want to land somewhere and get helicoptered to a game or something. He can probably figure that out as well. They do have helicopters available. Talk with them now about your options. You don't need to open a line of credit. You don't need a membership, which makes his company unique to you. But what they do deliver is an incredible amount of customer service as you navigate your plan for your travels this season, or do it for work, do it for family, do some trips. They can hook it up at Status Jet. So go to statusjet.com today to learn more. Dean, we visited with Alexander Kilgore. That's going to be our first interview that's going to drop here very shortly. I think with Alexander, he's so stoic but he's also got an edge to him that I think SMU fans that listen to the interview will really appreciate.
Yeah, and he's able to offer great insights scheme-wise as a team and the culture and what goes on off the field. But it's super interesting when you look at the defense and talking with Isaiah Wakovia as well, how that's the veteran group, the secondary, the defensive line might need some time. And it feels like that linebacker room is just kind of in the middle there, bridging the gap where you've got Alexander Kilgore, who's been here, knows the system. And even though he's not a senior, I mean, he is one of the leaders on this team. And so it was great talking to him and just excited for him to presumably get some recognition nationally this year.
So want you guys to enjoy this interview with SMU linebacker Alexander Kilgore, who steps into the starting spotlight after 2 years of basically kind of being a co-starter with Ahmad Walker and Kobe Wilson. Go to our interview now with Alexander Kilgore. Enjoy. Welcome back to the show. Really excited now, of course, to be joined by SMU linebacker Alexander Kilgore, joining us in Charlotte from ACC Media Days. A year ago, everybody was kind of wondering what SMU was all about coming into this league. You guys go to the ACC Championship, make the college football playoff. I know you weren't here last year, but is it a different feeling going into this season as a team?
Yes and no. Okay. Yes, because now people know. We have more believers. We have more believers on what we can do, but it was never about them. It was about we know what we can do, and it was more of proving it to the world and showing it on the field. And people think it was a fluke last year, and so it's kind of the same thing. Now it's going out and still proving it on the field and still proving everybody else wrong.
You know, Isaiah Wakovia was just here with us, and he kind of said the same thing. He works hard to keep that chip on his shoulder. Is that something similar that you do, or is it easier for you?
I think it's a little easier for me to keep it on my shoulder. Only reason I say that is because, like, my friends back home, like, if I send a video into the group chat, like, man, why you ain't do this? Why you ain't do that? If I send it to my pops and my mom, like, okay. You know, it's almost like they don't care, but I know they do. You know, and Coach Crum does a phenomenal job on pushing us every day, no matter day in, day out. Coach Lasser does, Coach Simons, my teammates, everybody, Coach Grizz from the weight room, like everybody, we all push each other. We have a great culture, and everybody pushes one another to become the best version we can of ourselves.
Last year, as a team, but especially on the defense, there was a ton of senior leadership and a bunch of veterans. This year, you're one of the most experienced guys at SMU and seem to have stepped up as the leaders. So what can you tell the fans about just the charisma, personality, and just how this team is on a day-to-day basis?
We're competitive. We are going to work every single day, and we are a very competitive team, and we're going to get after it.
Had some people tell me that they might think this team is a little faster than last year's. There are probably some other differences. You know, you guys lost a lot on the interior of the defensive line.
Absolutely.
Uno getting hurt in spring is tough. But team speed-wise, what do you think? Is it a little bit of a faster bunch this year?
I would say so. I would say as a collective, we're faster. Of course, you go into the individuals, there's more, you know. But I think as a team, as a collective, we're a little bit faster.
Is there some new wrinkles that you think might be unveiled by Coach Simons and the coaching staff with some of the different personnel that you guys have defensively? Is it going to look a little different this year? Is kind of what
it's going to look different.
Yeah,
it's going to look different. But I mean that's personnel, right?
Yeah.
We had 4 starters, so it's a huge turnover. So it has to look different. It's going to look different, and not in a bad way. It's just different personnel. We're going to work with what we got, and I'm really excited, and everybody should be.
Is it tough for you to not have an Ahmad Walker, Kobe Wilson in that room? Are you? I know you're ready to lead the way for this group, but
yes, sir.
It's probably a little weird too.
It is. I call them a lot. You know, those are like my big brothers. I came in with them in the college, and I went to the gun range. My first time going to the gun range with Ahmad and Kobe. You know, like. Those are like my big brothers. I know I can call them anytime and they will answer. It is most definitely weird because I don't have them messing with me in the locker room. I don't have them messing with me in the meeting room. But I'm excited for the challenge, and we're gonna go to work.
And we've talked about it a little bit, but there are a bunch of new faces, especially on that defensive line. The linebackers work very closely with the defensive line. So what can you tell people about what to expect from this front four, front seven, whatever you want to call it?
You can expect us to get after it. You can expect us to get after it, and if you don't expect us to get after it, we're going to exceed your expectations.
So things don't change.
No, the standard doesn't change for who comes into the school. We have chase the standard on our shirts and along the halls in our facility because we will chase the standard day in and day out, no matter what the personnel is.
Is there a different feeling around the offense with Kevin coming back as a starter? I know there was competition last year. They make a change and it ends up panning out. But with Kevin coming back, it's got to be kind of a settling factor, I would imagine.
Settling as in knowing who's going to be our quarterback. Yes, because we know Kevin is going to be our quarterback. But like I said, we are a competitive team, and we will compete day in and day out. So that doesn't change. Like, the standard will be set, and it is set, and it is our job as players to keep going and to keep pushing to that standard. And it's the job of the coaches to make sure we hit that standard.
You've been here from the get-go with Coach Lashley. You've seen this culture be built. What has that process been like to watch that unfold and be a part of it as well? But
it's amazing because I remember my first year here, there were more fans of my high school game than at the actual Ford Stadium. And I realized that at Navy when we were playing Navy. And I was like, wow, like, what is this? Yeah. So just seeing the transition that we have people in our school in the 5-mile vicinity actually believing us and showing up to the games and talking to us is truly amazing. People starting to recognize you on the side of the street. When we go on a Lametta line across this campus, it's an amazing difference. But that's all credit to what Coach Lashley has done, what the coaches have done, and most importantly, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Nobody in this room and nobody on our team is capable. He puts it into us to be capable, and we wouldn't be capable without him.
Speaking of capable, going to be need to be capable right off the bat. After that Week 1 matchup with East Texas A&M, faced Baylor. Then 2 weeks after that, you got TCU. Mm-hmm. Those two marquee games in the state of Texas. As somebody who played Texas high school football, what are those ones going to mean? I know you've been a part of the TCU one, but the Baylor one is a new wrinkle to the fold.
Yes, sir, it is. Baylor especially. I'm excited for Baylor. But I'm excited for them because I get to play some of my guys back from high school. Cole Wilson, I'm sure y'all have heard of him. And, we bicker back and forth on Instagram or iMessage. But I'm excited to go against him. I'm excited for the challenge. Baylor's a great team. They're going to come into Dallas, and we have a mark on our back. And they're a very good team. They're coached by a great team. I went there for visits. Their coach staff is A1. They have a great coaching staff. They have a great facility, and I can't wait because they're a very amazing team.
And then TCU, that one, the final one, I'm sure that one needs no introduction.
Yes, sir. Another great team. We went there my freshman year. We lost, and we're going there again. Another great team coached by Coach Dykes. The history behind that is whatever, but they're an amazing team, and we're excited for that. But we're excited for every single game. I don't want those two just to be circled because we have to take it day by day, and we have East Texas A&M first, right? So we need to take care of East Texas A&M, but before we take care of East Texas A&M, we need to take care of summer workouts because that's not even accomplished yet. And after summer workouts, we take care of fall camp, and then we can start looking at East Texas A&M, and then Baylor, and then Missouri State, and then TCU.
Awesome. Well, we know you're looking forward to the start of the season, but in particular, fall camp. Enjoy the work. It's just getting hot just in time for all that, too.
Yes, sir, it is. Embrace the hard way.
Yeah. Alexander Kilgore stopping by with us on the Pony Express podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Appreciate it. A great time visiting with Alexander Kilgore. One of the cool stories where it's nice, and you'll learn this as you get going, you might start dishing out some takes. And when he was in high school, I was like, this is a guy that you just love. You love his mindset. You love his athleticism. You love what his frame will be. And it's cool to see those type of things, one, come true for us, but, of course, see it develop in real time. And this is one of those guys, when you recruit Texas high school football like they want to do, you need some of these guys to pan out. You're not going to have 100% hit rate, but you need some of these highly touted guys to step up and be the players that you expect them to be. So big opportunity for Alexander Kilgore. He's got 2 years left, as does Zakai Barker playing next to him. So the entire linebacker unit has a good chance to be back next year. And at the same time, SMU is going to lose a piece that is just so crazy to think that in 2026, SMU won't have Isaiah Wakovia out there. And while they haven't announced it yet, he seems like a really good bet to wear number 23 again this season.
Yeah, he's a leader. I mean, he's just really a model guy for this SMU team, and really the blueprint for what SMU wants to become. When you talk about recruiting the state of Texas, but the Dallas area as well, just like you said, developing the talent that's here, because the talent is in the state of Texas and again in the DFW area. So just being able to develop it, and that's something too when we talk about the coaching staff being here from year to year, not losing anybody, and you talk about the schemes not changing. It's also just them building relationships with these coaches and developing the talent, which you've got to give this coaching staff credit for.
And we'll go to our interview with Isaiah Wakovia in just 1 second, but do want to remind you guys as well about our friends at Manny's Tex-Mex, 4 locations across DFW, whether it be Lakewood, whether it be Coyton Campbell, Saxe, Rockwall Heath. Say queso queso and get 10% off your food at Manny's Tex-Mex, whether it be dine in or if you call up there and carry out. It doesn't apply to third-party apps, but you can get it there or you can get it to go. Queso queso is the code word to get your 10% off. Just kind of reiterate to the server, hey, I should be getting 10% off because of queso queso. And they'll get the manager over there and hook you up. And also, we're going to have a lunch kind of live podcast hangout on August 1st. That's Friday. We'll have a couple of fall camp tidbits to talk about. We're going to do that at the Coit and Campbell location in Plano. We'll bounce around to some of these different locations as well throughout the season. And Mockingbird doesn't have as private of a room to do something like that, but we've already had an event there. So we're going to do Coit and Campbell. It's going to start at noon, and we'll kind of record a live, fun little podcast at 12:15 p.m. So while you're eating lunch at noon, we'll get our orders in, all of that, and we'll hang out. We'll have a private room to visit and hang out with our subscribers, listeners, and more. So make those plans now. That's Friday, August 1st at Manny's Tex-Mex at Coit and Campbell. I guess in Richardson, maybe technically right there on the Richardson-Plano border. But Coit and Campbell location at Manny's Tex-Mex will be there August 1st. So without any further ado, we go to our interview with Isaiah Wakovia, and we shut down this edition of the podcast after that. So hope you guys enjoyed listening to us recap day 2 of ACC Media Days. And now we go to our interview with Isaiah Wakovia. We'll catch you on Thursday with more coverage presented by Northwest Insurance Agency on the Pony Express podcast. Enjoy the interview with Isaiah. For Dean Ralsky, I'm Billy Embody. We'll catch you guys on Thursday. Welcome back to the show. Billy Embody, Dean Ralsky, Isaiah Wakovia, the star, one of the stars of SMU's defense going into the season, live from ACC Media Days in Charlotte. Isaiah, thanks for stopping by. How was summer for you? You had a productive one, both on the field, off the field. What was summer like for you?
Summer was great for me. I'll hold it. Summer was great, man. I was able to graduate this summer, so I was really proud of that. I got a degree from the prestigious, SMU, so that was amazing, man. And I was able to do some stuff off the field, investing with my cousin. Worked on, we flipped a house, so I was very proud of that as well. But able to, invest my money, make a little bit of money, so that was great. And above all else, I was able to get a lot of work in, man. I was able to just really lock in and focus on getting better on the things I need to get better at and getting ready for the season. So I had a very, very productive offseason.
Before we get into the team, I do want to ask you, the work with the Boys and Girls Club of Dallas, how special is that to you, just to give back in that way as well? I
think that's what it's all about, man. I think I'm so blessed. I'm so fortunate. God has put me in a position to be able to help others, and I think that's exactly what I'm supposed to do. Growing up, I didn't go to the actual Boys and Girls Club in Dallas, but my mom worked so much, so I was always at after-school programs and different things like that, so I could see exactly what those kids, I was doing those same things, being able to have a place to go to where you can make new friends, meet new people, where mom can go to work and do different things. So just community like that is what kind of helped raise me. So I was very, very, very happy to be able to give back and be a part of that for sure.
Let's dive into the season. Year 2 in the ACC. you go up against a few teams that have returning quarterbacks from last season. When you think of Boston College and Grayson James, Cade Klubnik, Josh Hoover, Elijah Brown, a couple of whom you got to pick off of last year. When you go into this season, how helpful can that be when you faced a quarterback before, when you're preparing for them, but also live during a game when you maybe know some of their tendencies?
For sure. Tendencies are a big part of football. I think it's about having the IQ, knowing the game of football, knowing how to just not be able to think so much when you're out there on the field, just be able to react and play faster. So having been played those quarterbacks, sometimes I feel like, when I'm out there the second time, it's something that I may not even be thinking about, but I may see something that just made me, I'm feeling this, and it just kind of give you that extra little nudge to jump on this play a little quicker than normal because I may have seen that before last year. So for sure, I think those tendencies are going to be a very big key this year.
I think an interesting piece of looking at you guys this year is first year under Rhett Lashley, 2023, you guys make a bowl game. 2024, a bunch of transfers come in, you win the AAC. Last year, move conferences, more transfers, all of those things. The coaching staff's back. You guys got a lot of key pieces returning. You also lost a lot. But is there a sense of kind of normalcy of going into this season, being in the same conference and some of the things you guys do have in place already?
I think right now we're focused on keeping the main thing, and that's the work, that's the brotherhood, that's just to making sure we're together. Because like you said, every year we've been able to have success these last few years, and we've been able to add key pieces that have came in and gelled. So I think Coach Lashley does a great job emphasizing how important it is for us to stay together as a brotherhood, for us to be together off the field, not just around football, but just going bowling or going paintball, just staying together as a team. So we're focused on keeping the main thing, the main thing. Whether that's normalcy, whatever the case is, we've had success, so we just want to focus on doing what we know.
Who's somebody that maybe on offense and defense that people don't know as much about before the season but are going to know exactly who they are going by
Jordan Hollywood Hudson.
Okay.
He had a phenomenal spring ball. I mean, I'm talking like he looked like one of the best receivers in the country by far. So I think obviously around everybody in Dallas knows him, but I think after this season, everybody around the country is going to know that name.
And going back to last year's defense, the defensive line was super disruptive in the pass rush, but I think it's no secret that it took them a couple weeks to truly hit their stride. And there's a lot of new faces this year, and it could be the same case again this year. So how important is it for that secondary to really hit their stride as soon as possible, knowing that it might take a couple weeks for the defensive line and that pass rush to gel?
I think so, because I think last year we were a little older up front. We had seniors like Jerry Harrison Hunt, Elijah Roberts, Jafar, Tank. We had a lot of old senior guys that were leaders in their own rights, and they gel well. And this year we're a little younger. I think we're older on the back end, so I think it's important for us to kind of be the tip of the spear, kind of lead that defense this year. And me and Ahmad are ready for that challenge, and Deuce as well. Seniors in that back end. We're gonna do our best to come out hot, come out rolling, be leaders on that defense, be the quarterbacks of the defense, and but we're ready for it, no doubt.
I was going to ask you, what's your relationship like with Ahmad? I mean, you guys are so impactful back there together.
Yeah, man, it's truly grown over this last year. We train together maybe 5 days a week outside of school workouts. So obviously we're at the school almost all morning, all afternoon together every day. But then even after that, we go train again on some skill work together. So we spent a lot of time this offseason together, and I think that's truly going to help our chemistry when we're out there on the field.
What are you most excited about for yourself on the field this year? Is there an area of your game that you really worked hard on to round out, or an area you feel like you've taken the next step?
I do. I'm not going to give you guys a scoop right now.
Okay.
You guys are just going to have to come out and come see it. Last year I think I did have some thoughts about going ahead and coming out, going to the league, man. I thought about it, but I realized that I had more growing to do. Like, I know that I could get better at some of the stuff I needed to get better at from last season, and this year I want to prove that I worked on that and I got better at that. So you guys are just going to have to wait and see.
Is there a chip on the shoulder, of where this team was last year at the end of the season, and maybe kind of how it ended in both of those games?
For sure, because I think obviously we earned some people's respect, but I think there's some people that still are like, it was a Cinderella story. They had one good year, they'll be done. It won't happen again. So I think there's still a lot of doubters out there. So I pride myself in keeping that chip on my shoulder always. I don't think I'll ever let it go. But we're excited for that challenge to show these people that we're the real deal and we really are back. It's not just for one season, but for the years to come.
And you talk about the future of SMU. The wide receiver room does have a couple of veteran guys in Romello and Jordan, but they've got some young talent that seems super promising. So can you just touch on that and what you've seen from the young receivers?
For sure. Isaiah and Jalen Cooper, both of those guys, man, have really showed some stuff. And there's a couple more freshmen, too. Dalen showed some great stuff as well, for sure. He's super fast. He's explosive. He's athletic, great hands. I think all three of those young guys, and I'm sure I'm missing one more probably, but those freshman receivers, man, like, SMU's known for putting receivers in the league, and I'm telling you now, it's going to go on for at least another 3-4 years, no doubt about it.
Isaiah Wakovia, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. Best of luck.
Appreciate y'all, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming, man.
If you're a Texas contractor and your insurance guy doesn't speak your language, fire him. We specialize in Spanish-speaking tradesmen. Call today and we'll review your current policy for free. No pressure, just straight answers. You've seen the guy that's your bro. That's us. And just like it protected my grandfather from the sun, we protect you from life's challenges. I'm Mark Villasana, owner and agency principal with Northwest Insurance.
I actually heard about NW agencies through a friend of mine who's been using them for years. Honestly, I've been really impressed. They made the whole process so much simpler than I expected. I was always used to dealing with a lot of back and forth, but with NW it was straightforward, and I always felt like they had my best interests at heart.
We're a full-service independent agency. That means we don't work for a single carrier, we work for you. We've got access to over 100 carriers, so whether you're insuring your home, your truck, or your electrical business, we'll find the coverage that fits your needs and your budget.
It's been a game changer, really. I used to worry a lot about getting the right coverage, especially with my business and home, but now I feel much more confident. They helped me understand my options and made sure I had the right policy for both my business and personal needs.
We specialize in helping hardworking folks, contractors, tradesmen, laborers, the people who keep Texas running. Whether you're a framer in Floresville, a roofer in Seguin, or a plumber in San Antonio, we'll walk you through the process in plain English or Espanol.
We'll pour you a cup of coffee, talk you through your policy, and make sure you leave with more protection and more peace of mind than you came in with.
This is Northwest Insurance. We've got you covered.
Northwest Insurance.
Thanks for listening to the On the Pony Express podcast with Billy Embody. Follow us on your socials on X at SMU3 and on Instagram at On3SMU. And keep it locked to OnThePonyExpress.com for more coverage.